That's unlucky. Okay, so obviously you know you misclicked, right? You obviously know you walked a little bit too far. Maybe you were typing. Oh no, you weren't typing. Huh. So you just misclicked. I mean, you didn't misclick. I'm sorry. You just didn't position well. A good idea, if you want to get better at laning and positioning in lane, if you really feel like you're stuck, is more or less. Welcome back, everyone, to the Coach Approach. It's your coach, Becca the Black Becca, and today we're going to be going over a Misfortune game. This is an Iron game. I chose this game because it looked like you actually could have made this a W. I was looking at your past games and I was like, this one actually looks like it was pretty close. From stats, you know, it could be way different in the game, but from the stat wise, it looked like it was pretty close. I've seen a couple of things about your build. The first thing that I want to say is if you're going to go press the attack, going crit is fine. And then if you just feel like you want to play off of just kind of like explosion rather than sustain damage, you could go Dark Harvest with lethality. So you would go Eclipse into the Collector and then into, you know, lethality, anything you want to build there. So if you feel like I'm more going to be like in the face, I have to kind of auto attack a lot more, I can't really get one shots off, go press the attack. If you're like, I can pretty much blow up everybody here as long as I get some shots off with my Q, I'm in my R and stuff like that, then you can go Dark Harvest into lethality. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what you go, as long as you play to that specific style. You don't want to play the lethality way, but you're building crit, and vice versa. You don't want to play the crit way if you're building lethality. So press the attack and crit. If you feel like you're going to have to auto attack a lot more, Dark Harvest and lethality. If you feel like you're going to, if you feel like you can one-shot people, all right? So without further ado, before we get started, though, I just want to say thank you to my Patreons, of course. Slippery Slappers, I can never get tired of saying that. Slippery Slappers, Captain Reed, Axology, Alana, ABC Troll, Tiny Panther, Infinity, and Jared Bear. Thank you guys for making these free VOD reviews possible. Make sure if you guys see them in the Discord, you tell them thank you, because they're the reason why you get a free VOD review. If you guys would like to support my Patreon, feel free to go over to my Patreon, link description below, and you will be able to support me there, as well as get some guides and some other videos that I just do not upload to my YouTube channel. I do plan on changing stuff about my Patreon coming in this next month, so keep a lookout for that. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If you guys would like a free VOD review, make sure you join my Discord. We get to 200 subscribers. We'll make sure we get a free VOD, or not free VOD, free coaching every week or every month. Don't know yet. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's get into this bad boy. All right, so that's a long intro. Should I have a timestamp? I probably should have timestamps for my intros, huh? We'll see. So let's kind of see. We want to make sure that we assess the lane here. So what type of lane are we? It's kind of awkward because Blitz and Misfortune. Blitz is really good at pulling and obviously giving you the kill. But Misfortune's not that good at killing. She's way better at poking. So if Blitz lands a hook, it's going to just be you chunking. It's not going to be an insta-kill. So we have to label you a poke lane, right? So within this game, you're not really, within this lane, I'm sorry, you're not really looking to get kills. You're just looking to poke. Even if Blitz lands a pull, you do not want to overcommit because you realistically can't kill that target. So always keep that in mind. When you're deciding out what type of lane you are, whether you're sustain, poke, or kill, have that be your guideline of how you're going to play. If it's just poke, then you try not to force any kills because you won't be able to anyway, and you might just put yourself into a really bad situation. Now, when we want to think about how we're going to play this lane, we want to ask ourselves, what does my champion want to do to win lane? Well, Misfortune, what does she want to do? She wants to be able to, you know, poke. She wants to be able to harass. She wants to try to bully you out of lane. As far as Kai'Sa, what does Kai'Sa want to do? Well, she pretty much just wants to farm and get her items. If she can get a kill, cool, but for the most part, she just wants to farm and get her items. So, with that information, you want to ask yourself, where's the best place to keep the wave? And that being said, is going to be either in the middle, perma pushed into their tower, or pulled back near our tower. Which one is probably the best one, so that they can't really do what they want to do, but we can also do what I want to do, you know? The best place is definitely around our tower. Why? Because if Leona decides to fly in, she's going to be under the tower. Kaisa can't really poke you under tower, so this is going to be the best place. Blitzcrank can get a pull him under the tower, or at least closer to the tower, and you know, you can still do your job of poking and harassing that way. So we want to make sure we control our wave. We want to make sure that we keep the wave around this part, because that will be a free win for your lane. Let's see how we played this though. Ooh, already forced a flash. Good pull. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's exactly what we want to have the Blitzcrank to be around here. You honestly could have gotten that kill if you just healed and then got the auto off instead of like waiting so long. But I also want to see if there's any particular combo that you messed up here. Auto, Q, auto. Cool. Let me just make sure they're in rapid successions. You're like, why are you looking at this over and over? Look, I want to make sure we got it in rapid succession. So we're going to watch it kind of just like regular view. We're going to see if you auto Q auto. It should be quick. It wasn't. It was shorter. So if you would have done it quicker, you actually would have been able to kill her without even having to go the extra distance. But because you went auto, you let her animation kind of go away, and then Q, you kind of messed up. You want to make sure when you're animation canceling an auto attack with another ability, it's instant. So you want to pretty much Q before the bullet even hits her, and you should be able to get that double tap off real quick. Just a better way to do it. If you really wanted to, you could have held your Q and then just Q'd off of Leona right then and there as well. So always keep in mind that your Q can bounce. You don't always have to, you know, do a lot for that. Okay, so we do die to Leona. Leona's broken. What can we expect? Alright, so we got a kill. What do we buy? We didn't buy anything. Wait. Oh, wait, did we not get that kill? We did get that kill. Wait a second. Wait a second. Yeah, we got that kill, so what did we... We have enough for a longsword. You get a longsword, you just automatically win this lane. You have enough right now to buy it. If you really want, you can get boots to be able to dodge easier. Dodge Leona a little bit easier, but definitely one of the two options would have been better. Going refillable potions didn't really put you ahead, so getting that kill didn't really mean anything. But you didn't buy any stats with it. So always make sure to try to spend all your gold. Don't just try to spend some of it. That's unlucky. Okay, so obviously you know you misclicked, right? You obviously know you walked a little bit too far. Maybe you were typing. Oh, no, you weren't typing. Huh. So you just misclicked. I mean, you didn't misclick. I'm sorry. You just didn't position well. A good idea, if you want to get better at laning and positioning in lane, if you really feel like you're stuck, is more or less follow the support. Wherever the support goes, you go. And in that sense, what I mean is that you always want to line up with them, right? So right here, oops, god damn it. Right here, we're not really in line with them, right? It should be like this, not like this. So this is bad. We want it to be like that. As you see, they're like that, right? Let's see then if we keep moving. They're still like this, and you're like that. You see the problem here? So a really good way is to just always be lined up. You should be here if he's here. And try to do your best to line each other up like that. That will be the best way to learn your positioning. Because more or less the support doesn't really focus on CS, so they can focus on their positioning a lot more. Then when an AD carry has to CS, it's a little bit easier for them to forget their positioning. So a really good way to kind of get around to position better is following your support. So if you feel you need help positioning, follow the support, and make sure you stay in a line. So just kind of have an imaginary line. You'll be good. Okay, so we do die. Unlucky that Blitzcrank actually killed you though, because he pulled Leona into you. But all right, so you want to just freeze it here once again. When we say we want to freeze it, we want to stop auto attacking the minions. We only want to attack them when they're really, really low like this. Okay, so we do not want to attack them non-stop because we won't be able to freeze. Another thing you want to try to do if you're playing Misfortune is to always look to Q off of a minion to hit the champion, whether it be Leona or Kai'Sa. It doesn't really matter. Just Q off of the minion to hit the champion, okay? And when we use our Qs like that, we want to make sure that we kill because it gives an actual crit. So when laning, do your best to use your Q to harass while CSing. It's a very good way to kind of poke and CS at the same time. Misfortune is really good at that. She can kind of do both at the same time without really worrying about that one. Because if it does bounce off and hit another minion, well, it's whatever, I'm CSing, right? If it bounces off, hit a champion, it's good for us. So what you want to do is you want to try your best to just last hit these minions so you're not auto shoving it. We talked about that last time, I believe, when I drew about review last time. And then use your Qs to just kind of bounce off when they're low. Another thing that I will say is that I looked at the skill order you actually had too. Skill order, we want to make sure that we max Q first. Well, actually R first, right? So R, then Q, then E. I'm trolling. Then W. My bad. And then E. Okay. If you're going for Dark Harvest, you can actually go QE if you really want to. Up to you. You can still do QW. Doesn't really matter. But if you're going to go crit, where you need to actually have your auto attack to do something, W second, but Q is still first because it is majority of Misfortune's damage. So you want to make sure you have that Q maxed first. I seen that you did Q, W, 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 Q. Just do Q, 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 then W, 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 then E, 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 E. Okay? Like there was a chance to do it. You see right there? That was a chance to get your Q off, but you didn't do that. If we look really, really closely, look how you decided to use your Q. Mother, man, okay. Look how you decided to use your Q. You right now could Q off of this or this, and it's gonna hit her no matter what, right? But look how we did it. Instead, we decided to Q Kai'Sa. If you would have Q'd the minion and then hit Kai'Sa, it would have done so much damage. Not only because it bounced off the minion, but it also crit. It does more damage if it bounces off the minion, and it does more damage if you actually kill it. I think. Don't quote me. Let me check. Okay, no. I lied. It's all the same damage. You guys are probably like, Avery, what the hell? Dude, I swear, back in the day, Misfortune's Q did more damage when it bounced off. But that's why I wanted to check, because Riot changes some shit and I don't pay attention sometimes, because it's not really that important. But yeah, so if you bounce it off the minion, it critically strikes. And it actually says it in the tooltip. So if you ever have like any questions about what an ability does, the tooltip more or less helps you out. They try to make it more clear about what the ability does. So let's see if we get a chance to Q again. You see, once again, we had a chance to Q off the minion. We could just wait to do it. But instead, you're wasting your Qs to hit her. So really look to bounce those off the minions, and you'll be in a way better spot. Cool. This is why we want to freeze the wave here. I don't know if you purposely froze it or not because you kept auto-attacking, but then Kai'Sa just returned with her own auto-attacks, which then just made it so it froze. You want to be able to match that pressure. So if you see that she's pushing a lot, well then yeah, you of course have to match the pressure. But you see kind of how she's just auto-attacking. If she was smart, she would just let it push back to her, and that way they have the advantage. But she's just like permanently leaving it here, which means that Blitzcrank can do what he just did and get a free kill. And that's why understanding where to keep the wave is important, because you don't even really have to do anything and you'll end up getting ahead of them. Alright, so we come back. 3 Doran's Blade. Don't recommend that. Just build normal. There's no reason to build like that. The only way I would say for someone to build like that is if they actually understand why. But don't do that. Just build regular, especially in this new season. Just build regular. There's no reason to do that. You're sinking, is it 450? Is it 450? It's 450. I believe. I could be wrong, but I think it's 450. You're sinking 450 into a Doran's Blade times 3. Right? This first one counts too. So it's times 3. right? So 450 times 3. Time for maths. 450 times 3. 1350. 1350 can get you a Quinn bow. So if we just had to add the 150 plus the 50 from start, and then take away that 150, you have enough, right? If we would have just sold our Doran's Blade at that, like if we bought a longsword that first time and then sold our Doran's Blade the second time, we would have had the Quinn thing, the Quinn bow, this thing, and we'd be up there with her, right? But because we didn't do that, we actually probably didn't have to sell it because you have CS gold too. But we're not talking about that. Anyway, we could have been here, but we were not. So she has 30 damage and you have 16, right? We're not going to count this extra 8. We're just going to say 16 because she has that one too. So 16 damage plus, you know, versus 30. And she has attack speed. You don't have anything. You have HP. Doesn't really do much for you. So really understand what you're building and why you're building it. If you ever have any problems, obviously feel free to ask in my Discord and your respective role chat. Like, hey, or ADCs, what's the best build for Mitch Fortune right now? Or what's a build? I'll respond. I know Epic responds to a lot of the stuff. There's a lot of people that will respond if you need help, if you just talk to the respective role. Builds more often than not, if it's not that great of a build, usually can hinder your performance. That blitzcrank is on point. All right, let's keep going. Okay. I'm just checking to see if there's anything else. The laning phase is pretty much simple. Control the lane. You know, make sure you keep it where you're supposed to keep it. Make sure you're using your Qs to bounce off the minions. Make sure you're not auto-attacking so much so you can freeze the wave. And make sure you position with your blitzcrank. Like, it's still the same stuff that we've already talked about. So I'm just going to get us out of laning phase here. Just a side note, I'm not going to write this down, but if you want to push a wave as fast as possible, start hitting the wave from the back and let these 6 minions or 7 coming up hit the front line. And then you just kind of wipe them all out at once. So just a little tip there. Okay, so we got the tower. We don't want to stay. We stayed anyway. We actually ended up getting the kill. We died though, whatever. Now what we want to do is look to rotate and help a laner. We want to either go mid or we want to go top. Dragon just got taken, I believe, right? So it's up in 3 minutes. Rift Herald's up in 1 minute and 50, so there's really nothing for you to do here, but we can help get these towers. So when you're rotating, you kind of want to ask yourself, who's struggling? So if we open this up, who's struggling right now? 2 for Akali, and then 5-3 Zyra. It's definitely Gnar in this situation. I mean, they're not really doing bad. You know, the kills just came from elsewhere for Zyra, but regardless, you know, it's definitely the Gnar that's going to need you more. So you want to ask yourself who's struggling, right? And then you also want to ask yourself who has the least amount of wave clear. Zyra has a lot of wave clear, regardless if she's by herself or not. But because the HP of the tower is so low, you can actually bypass that and just hit the tower a couple of times and it'll fall. And then you rotate mid and you do the same exact thing. Okay? So for now, it doesn't really matter which one you go to. Just make sure, like I said last time in your last VOD, after we get our tower, we rotate and help get other towers. Okay? So I'm going to write it down again because it's very, very important. So after we take our tower, we rotate to take other towers. Unless a dragon is coming up. In which case, we don't really want to stray too far from that bot line. Okay? Alright. So let's see what we do now. We're going back towards bot. As I said, we talked about that, right? Because what initially happens is that your whole team could be feeding, but you're not helping them, right? And then you're going to be forced to basically 1v9 as ADC, and unless you're a pro, that shit's hard to do. So you'd rather just make it easier on yourself by helping your team. Okay, you're in the right position. You're not too close, you're not too far. You can definitely help out if you need to. Yep, you just want to kind of look for a good ult. You want to wait for it? Not yet, not yet. Oh, you got caught. Yeah, it wasn't a good ult to have anyway. If you're going to play Misfortune, you want to make sure that you have two things down packed, okay? Before I ult, I have these two things. So the first thing, I'm in a position to not be stopped or killed. 2, I'm in a position to hit the most amount of players possible. Sometimes you just have to wait and not fire that ult off. You really have to wait. That was an accident. You really have to wait for them to commit, and then you can fire that bad boy off. You just don't want to do it because then Misfortune without her ultimate is kind of ass. So you want to make sure that you get a good one off. You see how much time you're spending down bot? We spent 21 minutes down bot. Look at the state of like the rest of the game. Towers is lost, people are dying, losing, and we're down here still. What animation is that? That was her firing off that Q? Holy crap, or a crit. But the thing is, you're really staying because you're like, well, I don't want my tower to fall. Okay. If you guys are one tower up, right, and you go to take this tower, and then they take bot tower, aren't we still one tower up? Okay. And then they take his tower, but we're going mid and we take that tower. Aren't we still one tower up? Okay. So it's definitely worth a lot more to be able to control the map than you try to, you know, save your precious tower. That Leona's trolling. And you're not the only person that struggles with this type of play, right? It definitely is a lot of players. A lot of players do not want their tower to fall, so they sit in lane for a very long time, and they don't leave lane, and they just sit in lane just like that. And then of course the jungler just comes and kills you, or the laner comes, mid laner comes and kills you, because you're always out of position, because you're always in the wrong place at the wrong time. We're going right back to bot again. At this point it's okay because Dragon's coming up though. But okay, now we're just overstaying. We want to make sure that we can get that dragon. Yeah, now we're just a little too happy that we're getting kills. You can kind of tell. Usually it's the lower bracket players that tend to be like that. Like, oh, I'm doing well. And they'll either BM or they'll look for more kills and kind of just forget about winning the game entirely. And then that's how they end up throwing. So when you have those kills, know that you need to spread that lead across the map. Go do something else. Don't just keep coming bot. This is 26 minutes in bot lane so far. Let's see how many minutes we are actually sitting in bot lane. Because it could be you were locked in because of the tower. Yeah, exactly. Like you made yourself locked in because of the tower. Now your tower is gone. You're like, I guess I can rotate. But look how late it is. You took 28 minutes to like help your team. Imagine if they were all just really bad players and they're all feeding, and you took 28 minutes to go help them when you're ahead. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win at all. Oh hell no. Don't waste your ult like that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Don't do that. That shit's way too damn long of a cooldown, and it's not gonna be up by next team fight. As you see, it's not. That matter, you died anyway. But yeah, don't ever waste your ult on a wave. Ever. Let's see if it's just kind of the same thing over and over. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Like you felt lost, stuck in your lane because your tower was still up. But you don't want it to get the team fight phase because that's like the hardest phase in the game. Because nobody really gets to practice team fighting. The games don't usually go so long. They're usually one-sided, so you don't really get a chance to practice team fights, which means that players aren't going to be that great at it. And we're just randomly fighting. I have to fight for these objectives. And that's definitely a game. Okay. So, as I said, skill order, definitely a huge problem. We got to make sure that we do the right skill order. Crit or lethality is fine, either one, as long as you play to the style. And then just have this homework be, we still got to make sure that we're rotating. We're not rotating at all, and that's costing our team to like need you, and they can't. Like if resources get poured into you to help you get stronger, and then you don't use those resources to help the team, you kind of just lose. And so you have to make sure you're using those resources to help the team. I definitely think learning how to position in lane is a very huge aspect of the game. Actually, I think all these things are actually pretty good. And there's not really any homework. The homework is everything. Get those things down pat. I guess 1 and 3 actually. 1 and 3 are like the way more important ones. You can do this one while you're in lane, number 1, and then once you're out of lane, we can do this one, and we can look to kind of take towers and rotate across the map. So I hope this helped you out. If you got any questions, as I said before, feel free to message me. That's pretty much it. If you guys like read VOD reviews, make sure you join my Discord on the weekend. The weekend is when I open up the channel for you guys to post your OP.GGs. Until next time, know what I always say. Thank you guys for approaching this like a coach.